again, welcome. This week's topic is farming systems. What is farming system? After looking at farming system, I will also be looking at the factors responsible for the choice of farming system. There, I will look at each of them one after the other. Now, what is farming system? Farming system refers to the ways, methods, or approaches farmers adopt while carrying out his farming operations or activities. Here, I also want to look at these factors that are responsible for farming systems. The first one is farmland, available farmland. Now, the amount of land that is available will determine the type of farming system to practice, because some areas will have low population and some other areas will have high population. So that would not determine the type of farming system to practice. Cultural factor has to do with what is existing within a community. A shifting cultivation is what is practiced there. People will definitely practice shifting cultivation. Then in the north we have pastoral farming, where people will also always practice pastoral farming. Here also have capital. The amount of money that the farmer will have will also determine the type of farming system to practice. If he has a lot of money, he will also practice mixed farming. Other factors could be nature of the land. Nature of the land is when the land is hilly or slopy. Now, if the land is hilly, you don't expect to plant arable crops. Then you can use such land for pastoral farming. You can determine what other method to use there. Then we also have the geographical factor. Geographical factor is talking about the nature of an area in terms of vegetation or climate. If the vegetation is mainly of grasses, then that will enable them to practice pastoral farming. Here, I want to also look at shifting cultivation, which is also called bush fallowing. It actually involves a process whereby a land has been cultivated for so many years and that land is left fallow. Then you now shift or move to another piece of land, a fresh virgin land, with the intention of not coming back to that former land. This process actually encourages replenishment of the soil fertility or the lost fertility of the soil. It also prevents rapid spread of pests and diseases. Again, it also assists in erosion control. But however, it needs a lot of time and energy for a forest to be cultivated and also to be felled down. Then it does not also encourage large scale production in terms of food production. That is strong, yeah.
And on a mixed farm, you would find animals and crops. So, like you can see here, we've got the cows grazing on the field. So, this farmer has cows, but he also grows crops on the field behind. Um, Now, if a farmer maybe is a dairy farmer, then he might also grow things as well on his farm, and he might keep the cows too. Sheep might be used for lamb and also for making wool, but the farmer may also grow crops as well. Um,
Advantages of mixed farming: regular income and animal waste are also provided. Its disadvantage is that it requires a great deal of knowledge and the animals may eat crops that are planted. This one is called lay farming. It is not actually very common in this part of Nigeria. It is a system which involves alternating arable crop production with forage crops. Here, forage crops that are planted can be leguminous crops which can help to replenish the soil nutrients. It has its own advantage because the soil nutrients are usually very high because of the presence of forage crops. Then soil erosion is also controlled to the barest minimum. But its disadvantage is that the forage crops sometimes may turn to weeds, thereby affecting other crops that may be planted later. Then it's not also very easy to practice, hence it's not common in Nigeria. Tonga farming system is a system whereby food crops or arable crops are grown alongside with economic trees. Such trees could be iroko, beche, and all that. It actually helps to provide income to the government and also help in the protection of erosion. Then the fertility of the soil is usually also very high because of the trees leaves that are usually falling down. Then the disadvantage is just that it usually leads to the destruction of economic trees regularly by illegal timber magnets. Then it does not also allow permanent crop production for the farmers.
Hey Daddy, will you please tell me about the Tanja cultivation?
Of course, my child. It is a system of farming whereby the villagers and forest plantation workers are given the right to cultivate agricultural crops during the early stages of forest plantation establishment.
Daddy, can you please tell me something more about this practice?
Yes, of course. Tangia in Burma means hill cultivation. It was introduced in counties like India by Dr. Brandis in 1890. This is a modified term of shifting cultivation in which labor is permitted to raise crop in an area but side by side with the forest species planted by them. Did you get it, my child?
Yes, Daddy, now I know it. Thank you for your explanation.
So arable farming is when a farm grows things. So if you go to a farm and you see fields and fields of crops, vegetables being grown, grains being grown like barley, oats, cereals like wheat, and fruits being grown as well. That is an arable farm. If that's all they do on the farm is grow things, then the farm is an arable farm. You'll see quite a lot of arable farms in the Scotland area, but you'll also see some of the other type of farms as well. So just remember, an arable farm is where they only grow things, cereals, which you have for breakfast, wheat, corn, barley, which they use for making beers and whiskies and things, vegetables, fruits, anything like that is grown on an arable farm. So you just need to remember arable is growing. Pastoral farm. And this is where the farmers keep animals, and the animals live on fields and they eat off the fields. And the animals either are eaten as meat or sold as meat, or they produce things like wool or milk or cheese. So a pastoral farm is where the farm keeps animals and the animals live off the ground. So generally you'll see pastoral farms in places like the Highlands, or in areas where the land is bumpy, or it's got lots of hills and things and it's difficult to grow crops there. So any land that has where it's difficult to grow crops, the farmers would generally keep animals, and that would be their job. They would be pastoral farmers, and they would keep
Pastoral farming, which actually involved the rearing of farm animals such as cattle, sheep, and goats, alongside with forage crops. This system is usually also very good because the animals feed on the grasses. However, it takes two types. We have the pastoral ranching and pastoral herding. The pastoral ranching is using a particular range land for these animals, while the herding is the one the cattle Fulani nomads usually move along with their cattle from one place to the other, which will lead to the destruction of some crops, as have caused a lot of problems in Nigeria today. However, its advantage is that it's a source of animal protein to the humans. Then it also requires less labor to carry out. Its disadvantage is just that it's usually grow in an area where there are abundant grassland. Then it's also laborious for those herdsmen to usually look for grasses to meet the requirement of the farm animal.